Hey, what is going on? This is a review of the Federal 595 RSR tire for my 15 Fiesta ST. Somebody asked if I would talk about these and do a review, so I didn't have anything to do this morning, so I'm going to share a few thoughts. This is a 215/40/17 tire, and keep in mind that's a +1 size width for this car. This car is supposed to take a 205/40/17. So I did +1 size it for 3 reasons. Number one, I've got these big 8-inch rims. The car came with 7-inch rims, so this holds the rim better, a little bit better. 2, the wider stance with the +1, it's not awful. There's no like rock chips that are coming off from the road, gravel and stuff, but it does sit a little wider. The stance is a little wider than with the stock tire. Definitely looks different, more aggressive. So that's the second reason. And the third reason is I want a more contact patch because I have a turbo upgrade. And so I did this in conjunction with the turbo upgrade because I wanted more tire on the ground so I could get, in theory, more traction, which I'll talk about in a minute. And these are $384 shipped for a set of 4, which is that's a pretty great price. Federals aren't like real popular among tire people in terms of like, so I went to Tire Kingdom to try to get these mounted. And they said, we won't mount those. Those aren't even street tires. So I had to, go to a shady place. Not really. I ended up doing it at the dealership. But, that just tells you something. If the Tire Kingdom, who, they sell, dozens of brands of tires and they won't mount this tire. However, I've used these for 10,000 miles now and on street, no track, no autocross. And they've been phenomenal. I've had no issues at all. So in terms of, reliability and why they wouldn't mount them, I think that's more of a reputation thing. These tires have been awesome. And so let me talk a little bit about them. They're super grippy. Like I said, I did them in conjunction with my turbo upgrade. I wanted better traction. They did instantly. I got better traction. Of course, any new tire, you're going to get better traction. The Bridgestones, which were on the car, which come with the car, had 22,000 miles on them. And they were pretty much done. So, any new tire is going to give you more. But this tire just really, really gripped. Like I got way less wheel spin when I, floored it. And still get a little bit, depending on which tune I'm running on this car. But still, these tires really hold. I almost get full traction in second gear. And this car has 298 wheel horsepower and 322 wheel torque. So that tells you something. It does not have LSD. And I still almost get full traction on my 93 tune, which is more like 280 horsepower. On my high octane tune, then it still blows these tires off, but still they're way better than they were before. The +1 size probably helps with that. I use these as a daily, like I said, daily all season tire. I wouldn't recommend that if you're in snow, because when it gets cold, these just because it's really a high performance summer tire, so it's not an all season tire. I wouldn't recommend it if you got snow or really cold weather. I can tell, like last winter when it was cold, I could tell they were slipping a lot more. Of course, they weren't warmed up. They probably would have done better, but still, probably not an all season tire if you're in a colder climate. But here in Georgia, I don't have to worry about that a whole lot at all. So. I've used it as an all-season for 12 months and 10,000 miles, and they've been fantastic. They do have a wet traction rating, which is important to me. If the sister tire of this is the Federal 595 RSRR, so this is just the R. But the RR is a ridiculous-looking tire with these like awesome flame tread pattern. The tread pattern's like flames. It's insane. And those, if you go to Federal's website, do not have a wet traction rating. So that tells you something. This tire does have a wet traction rating on their website. The RR doesn't. I think the RR really is the more extreme track tire. This is one that you could probably use as a daily. I can't comment on snow performance because it doesn't snow here much, and I have not driven them in the snow. They are a little noisier in terms of noise. They're a little noisier than the Bridgestones I had, but that's to be expected with what they are. The compound is so soft, and I think that contributes to the noise. Obviously, that gives you more grip. It's so soft that when I floor it, like there's pieces of the tire that will be like stuck on this mud flap that I have to peel off that melt away. It's just I've never had a tire do that before. And another interesting thing about this tire is the compound is so soft. This is just kind of extra that tire shine will not apply to this. Like I just applied tire shine to this tire a few days ago, and it looks shiny for about 2 minutes, and then the shine's gone. So interesting, just something to note. And then in terms of like reliability or tread width rather, tread life rather, you can see this is a year in, and I've still got plenty. I don't have a gauge, but I've got plenty of life left in these. I think they're going to last another year, or maybe longer. And you know, obviously my driving style is going to contribute to the life of these. But you can see here, I have not abused them. I don't autocross. So you know, the treads, sidewalls are holding up really well, and they've lasted. So great tire for under $400 shipped. Man, you can't beat it. I love these tires. And would I buy another set? Maybe. Maybe, we'll see. I'm thinking on it. You know, it's nice to change up. And I thought before I'd close this video, I just want to talk a little bit about something that might help you. So you can go to, I learned this, and I didn't know this before, but I've been doing a lot of research on tires. And so you can go to pretty much any tire site, and you can find the dimension data for that tire. So this particular tire, if you go to the 40, and here's my tire. So the things you want to think about here are, you want to think about section width, and then you want to think, of course, obviously you need to figure out the approved rim width, but I'm not going to talk about that because we're talking about tires. And then you want to look at tread width, okay? And then you also want to look at weight. And all this can be found. So I made a chart here just to kind of illustrate the difference here, because the thing is, people think, oh, I get a bigger tire, I get more traction, I get more contact patch, and that's not necessarily true. There's actually some tires that are smaller. It's like a 205 that actually will have a larger contact patch than a 215. So not all tires are created equally. Very important. So for example, I just did a quick study here. This is the Bridgestone that comes with the car. They're 205s, and they're 19 pounds, and it has 82 millimeter sidewall. I did the math for you just to save time. So sidewall here is 82 millimeters right here. There's your sidewall measurement. Okay. So you have a lighter tire with a smaller sidewall, and then you go to the tread width. The tread width of the stock Bridgestones is 7.6 inches. Okay, tread width meaning how much contact patch is actually touching the road. So you got 7.6, of course, we're talking about the stock tires. And then section width is your other measurement, and again, you can find all this stuff when you just go look at the stats of the tires. You got your section width here, you got your tread width. So section width for this tire is 8.4. So section width the tread width is the contact patch, what's touching the road. But the section width is the fattest part of the tire. So in this case, you know, typically it's going to be right here. From here to the same thing on the other side is 8.4. So that's going to be a little fatter because, you know, it's the center of the tire. So having said all that, look how interesting this is. If you compare that, the Bridgestone stock in 205 to my tire, the Federal 215, first of all, beefier sidewall, obviously, because of the measurements, 86 versus 82. But here's where you can actually realize you might be slowing your car down, because this tire is only 19 pounds. This one's 22.49, so that's an extra 3.5 pounds. And typically, weight on the wheels, you would say, is 10 pounds for every pound. So that's essentially like adding 140 pounds, 3.5 times 4, to the car by just 3.5 per tire. Something to think about when you get tires. I looked at a couple other tires here, the way that the Yokohamas I was thinking about, and then these Falcon Azenas were only 20 pounds. But then the other thing to think about, aside from weight, is the actual tread width and section width, which might surprise you, because with the Bridgestone's stock tire, the tread width was 7.6, which, so from here to here, and I just actually measured it like this is actually 7.6 pounds. So that's how much tread of the stock Bridgestone is touching the road. All right, a +1 size Federal, my tires, check this out. It's actually 0.1 inches less. So a 215 +1 size tire actually has 0.1 inches less of a contact patch on the road, which Hey, that's not a big deal. It is less though. So my point is you're actually getting less tire on the road, but it's a better tire. So it probably works out in the end. It's heavier. It is what it is. And then same with section width. The Federals, you can compare. The Federal actually does have more section width. Anyway, just all that is to say, research your tires. Like whatever you're comparing, I would encourage you to get the data, do some research, and think about what you're really getting, because you may get a bigger tire with better tread, but you actually might have less contact patch on the road, and because of the extra weight of that tire, you actually might be hurting yourself. In my case, I did all the research, and these tires were highly spoken of, and I decided to go for it, and I'm super happy with them. But with tire purchases going forward, this is the kind of thing I think that's really important to think about. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed. If you have questions, leave them, and thanks for watching, and God bless you. Be safe.